I want to talk to you today, first of all, about a kind of a geeky thing, so stay with me. I watched a lecture, sort of like one of those TED Talks, but it was from something called Wonderfest 2008, and it's a festival for science. Nerdy, I told you a little bit, right? Well, lots of speakers come and they speak for a little while, and I get really excited about some of the things that they talk about. I listened to one particular chemist / geneticist. He's from, I think it's Santa Cruz, a university there in California. And he talked about something that really fits into how we are expecting science to prove what we believe. He did something called, he called it Your Song. He studied chemistry, and so I won't even try to explain to you all the chemistry involved. I will tell you that I was the first woman to learn chemistry really in high school, so I'm a little bit of a nerd. He said that as chemists began to study the universe, along with physicists and that sort of scientists, that he's realized that we are really all made from stardust, and you may have heard that. He said that when stars explode, that's where universes, that's where solar systems evolve and are created and begin, and that all of the particles of all of the planets of those solar systems are created from the stardust, from that big explosion. Wow, isn't that an epic thought? I think it's really an epic thought. And then he said, as scientists begin to study the makeup of all things, they cannot help but know that there is God. He says that, this was back in the 80s, that he and a few colleagues decided to look at the DNA, those parts of us that we're all made of, amino acids and proteins and that sort of thing. And he says that we realize that they're in a pattern, and they're strung together just like words in a sentence, right? With those words being individually given to us, maybe not much meaning. But when you put them together in a certain pattern, when you put them together in a certain sequence, you get great meaning. He said the same thing happens with those DNA particles and pieces. When you look at the parts of them and they're strung together, they have great meaning in the order in which they are sequenced. He said, like all artists, like those who try to make a statue of happiness, or someone who tries to paint a picture of love, he says, scientists have called on musicians to help paint a picture of our DNA, those basic building parts. And this was back in the 80s. Now that technology has advanced even further, they can actually take pieces of DNA, look at the code that it tells us, assign to it a musical note that is already in existence. For example, if it's a base or an amino acid that begins with the letter A, they gave you the musical note of an A. If it were an amino acid or a base that begins, the name of the scientific name begins with the letter G, he said they assigned it the note G. They found, miraculously, that when they did that, those musical patterns created an awesome music. Well, this is what mystics, this is what New Age thinkers have been trying to tell us through the ages, that there is a music to life. There are those who say that it is the great tone. Near Eastern religions that say that it's the tone that goes beyond all usual imaginations. The Hindus talk of Nada Brahma. They say it's the tone from which God made the whole world, which continues to sound at the bottom of creation and which sounds through everything. Ernest Holmes said the original spirit is harmony. So using all these concepts, the chemists and the geneticists have now been able to take these strands of DNA and assign musical notes to them. I was so excited about this. I listened to this lecture more than once. And I kept trying to glean more and more and more importance from it, and I got more and more excited. They found that our DNA, when set to music, is a wonderful melodic composition. When it's completely transcribed by professional musicians, which the chemists were not, they had to hire some professional musicians to help them out, that the result was compositions that were very similar to those of Bach, Mozart, of Chopin, and other great composers. That they were just simply majestic. Think on that for just a second. The very makeup of your genetic DNA is melodious and majestic. Many people who then heard these songs, even the musicians themselves, and also scientists, they were actually moved to tears. Many of them said, I just cannot believe that my own body contains such an uplifting, inspiring harmony. But when I heard it, I was not surprised. Are you? It's just another scientific proof that we are glorious and majestic beyond belief, that we are God, that we are the expression and individual melody and the symphony of great God. Well, science keeps proving through extensive research what new age thinkers and philosophers have just intuitively always known. Einstein himself proclaimed this. He said, science without religion is lame. And if you have religion without science, you are blind. So, Ernest Holmes again, he said, I'm looking forward to the day when science and religion shall walk hand in hand through the visible right into the invisible. Think about where we are right now with technology. We're doing that. The day has come when our spirituality and our spiritual thinking is now beginning to walk hand in hand with science. Many scientists that I know, and I know quite a few, say there has to be a divine thought, a great consciousness behind it all. It's too perfect. The way the world fits together. It's just too perfect to be an accident or a coincidence. That's why I wasn't surprised when I heard this research. I wasn't surprised at all. Was it coincidence that our DNA set to music is beautiful? No, it's divine order. It's harmony with perfection. It's one song, and if you'll forgive me for the pun or the use of this word, it's a universe. It's beautiful. And each one of us is part of that. So, why do we have a lot of discord? Why do we experience that? If our very DNA makeup is beautiful and melodic, why do you have discord in your life? Why aren't things always beautiful? Well, they are. It's all how we look at it. Sometimes you might feel like your life is out of step. But I think it's just because you're not listening to your own God song. And that's what I'm beginning to call it. Are you disregarding your God song? Are you ignoring your own interior harmony? Maybe it's because you're just trying to fit in somewhere else. Well, ask yourself this question. Just bear with me. All music is beautiful to God. Have you asked yourself this question from Olivia Newton-John's song? Have you ever been mellow? Have you ever tried to find some comfort from inside? She said it long ago. What was it, the 70s or the 80s? I'm too young to know for sure. 70s, 80s maybe? Yeah, I was such a child at that time. But with all the clatter in the world, can it be difficult for us to hear our own story, our own song? Is it going to be hard for us to know who we really are? How do you sound? Ask your friends that someday. How are you sounding today? Do you hear your song? Sometimes we just need to be reminded. You see, our music is always in harmony, and it's important for us to be able to take the time to hear that, to get mellow. I won't sing it again. But to meditate upon it. Think about Spend time in silence, listening to that one tone until you start to feel the harmony within you. Now, Jesus spoke in parables. And the word parable simply means alongside of, allegorical, analogy, kind of along with. So I'm going to be talking today using this musical thing as my parable. I say that you can train your ear to hear the divine harmony. And sometimes if I'm very quiet, I can hear it. It's a vibration. It's a melody. It is a rhythm. When we think of our lives metaphorically this way, as a song, then it will become easier for us to see where we need to make changes so that our outer life is really becoming harmonious with our inner life, our inner state. You see, if we were a song, we'd have 4 parts. And musicians, you help me out because I'm neither a professional scientist nor a professional musician. But we have rhythm, we have melody, harmony, and of course the words. So let's talk about the rhythm first. You see, our body has a rhythm. We have blood that pumps. Am I right? Sometimes if your blood pressure is too high, you can hear it in your ears. Right? It's a perfect motion. The rhythmic ease of the one mind and attitude. Now, I know some people that move at a really fast pace. I'll call it the pace of a hummingbird. You might know those people. Their wings are always moving. Their rhythm is fast. It's quick. They thrive in the face of stress. Right? It's a great motivator. And then there are those of us who say, look how successful they are at that pace. I need to be at that pace. When in reality, we all have our own rhythm, our own DNA coding, our own God song. I couldn't survive at that pace. God has told me to slow down, listen to my own rhythm. Have you heard of people who maybe even pass away after maybe 6 months of retirement because their pace has just changed and they're no longer listening to their rhythm? Right? Marita, can I use you as a good example? No, you don't. You are what, 80s, in your 80s? And you seem to have quite a quick pace, if you ask me. No use to slow down if you don't need to, if it doesn't feel right. Thanks, Marina. I'm glad you're still here. But in order for us to live a healthy life, it is essential for us to discover our own God pace at the very core of our being. And sometimes our rhythm will be fast and then sometimes it will be slow. But you will know. You will know. Don't compare yourself to others. However, don't lose this point, that even though we have an individual life and individual rhythm, our own particular rhythm, that doesn't mean that we're all traveling to the beat of a different drummer. I know you've heard that phrase, all he walks to a different beat. Sure, we have our own rhythm, but let me tell you, there's only one divine drummer. Do I need to say that again? We have one divine drummer. And he is beating out the rhythm of our life. Now let's talk about your melody. That's like your own personality, your unique individual expression of this one life. Remember, you are the individualized expression of God. Have you heard of the show? Again, I'm way too young to really talk about it in detail. Name That Tune. You remember that show? Raise your hand if you remember Name That Tune. I can name that tune in 3 notes, or 1 note. Ask yourself this, how many notes of your melody would someone need to hear to know who you are? They can hear 2 or 3 notes of your melody and say, I know that person. We all know those kind of people who are in tune with their melody because when they come into the room, we feel good. I want to be one of those kind of people, right? Happy to be around. You're always happy to see them. Even when you're in not so good a mood, they walk in and you suddenly change a little. You feel lighter, you feel happier because they're singing their own song. You're sure of their melody. I say to you, let's live it out loud. Let's sing it out loud. I heard Jan today say, "Oh, Maria, you sing it because you can sing." She was up here. She didn't want to sing her song, right? Out loud, anyway.
No, I don't want everybody to leave.
Sing unto him a new song. And I don't mean change who you are. I mean make your song fresh. Sing unto him a new song of your melody that is wonderful and loving. The one put into your heart since the very beginning. You see, each of us helps to flesh out this musical score and enrich the performance of life. We're part of a universal symphony, and all of it is spirit, and all of it is good. Well, let's talk about harmony then. So how do we interact with others? See, when you know who you are, it's going to be a lot easier for you to discover with whom we harmonize, and then those with whom we have discordancy. I'm going to say that when you're honest to your song and you're true to who you are, then you're going to attract other people into your life who are also singing their song, who know who they are. See, I think when you're playing your melody out loud and it's clear and you're still not having harmony in your relationship, and I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand, but just like you to turn a little hand up if you have relationships that don't feel harmonious. And I'm not just talking about a sensual love relationship. I'm talking about friend relationships, parent-child relationships, relative relationships, work relationships. If they're not harmonious, maybe you just need to move to another part of the orchestra. Let us not judge whether someone else is not playing their song truly. Maybe you just need to move to another part of the orchestra. Maybe you just need to play your song in harmony with a different instrument. Sure. I say we sing our song of love and we automatically move into right relationships when that happens. Infinite love harmonizes our entire being. Last of all, let's talk about the words of your song. We've all heard this here before in this place, and I've said it before. We have to watch what we say every day. Ask yourself, are your lyrics happy ones about life, about possibilities, about love and light? Or sister, are you singing the blues? Right? It's important to watch what you say. I say listen to the lyrics of your life. Listen to them. Your words are powerful. And we speak into our words the intelligence which is in our Christ mind. They're backed by a greater intelligence of a universal mind. Our words will become the law unto the thing that we are speaking. So ask yourself, what words are you writing in your life? Are they affirming? If not, make them affirming. They'll create the images that will become your reality. So we got to sing our individual songs. That makes the harmony of life, right? If we're ever to experience the fullness of life and really start tapping into our potential, then we have to listen to the heartbeat of our soul. We have to stand up. We have to move our feet. We have to open our mouths. We have to sing a hallelujah chorus. It's this inner kingdom where my true nature is residing, where your true nature is residing. In there, Wanda, no one's tone deaf. No one's uncoordinated. Because we're all one with the big universe. I love that. We're harmonious, melodical beings of God. And we can write our own song. I'm going to let you listen to a little part of it here before we do our meditation. And you can tell everybody that this is your song. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done, I hope you don't mind. I hope you don't mind that I've put down in words how wonderful life is. Now you're in the world. Let's listen to DNA music. Mr. D was one of the original scientists. My computer should be keeping up. I have it here, but not here.
Tora, is the TV on?
I am neither scientist nor musician.
Nor technician.
We're technician. I know you've heard of the that some people say is Stuart Mitchell is a musician who has taken on this project. He calls it the Human Genome Sequence Project. And what you're hearing is the music of our DNA. People now are even going to doctors who are part of the project. For example, a woman who has breast cancer has asked for that part of her DNA to be recorded with the technology. And for the part that is the DNA or the part of her genes that made her what they call prone to breast cancer, they correct that on her CD. They put it on a CD. And she plays for herself as a part of her healing the correct sequence of wholeness and health. Wow, I think it's just amazing. I'm going to ask you today while we do our meditation to just allow me to play this soft music in the background. And just know that this is our song. That's loud. So let's go into an allness of meditation for a few moments. With your eyes closed, I hope you can hear me. Listen with your heart open, your mind and your soul open. Surrender the personal for a few moments. Open to the greater possibilities of the universal. Just let any worldly thought drift away or settle, just like falling leaves from a tree. Relax. You have plenty of time right now to hear the inner voice of truth, the voice of the spirit of unity. For just a few moments, throw yourself with complete abandonment into the very center of the universe, the very center of ourselves, where we are one, and we are beautiful, and we are expressions of God. hear your song. Know you are wonderfully and beautifully made. That as one we are in harmony and can be harmoniously melodic and beautiful together. Rest for a moment in our song. God, as we come back to an awareness of our surroundings, we thank you that we can realize ourselves as part of the great universe, the original spirit of harmony and peace. May we have spiritual understanding, that we may have revelation of spiritual things, that we will remember who we are because of you, who we are through you,